I feel like I need to preface this entire video by saying I don't know what I'm doing, but if this works out how I want it to, the video will be posted. So if you're watching this, I think it worked out. I want to put some van flares on my Econoline, and typically the like prefab ones that I've seen online, they remove this window and put the flare on there, and it pops out from I think like 4 inches maybe. That way on the interior you get like that full width space to do like a full-size bed without having to cut it, because the vans, these Econolines and other vans like this, are not big enough to have that bed going like from wall to wall without being trimmed. But instead of just removing this window, I also want to remove this window, and then I'll just cut the van right there. Might be a terrible idea, I don't know. I feel like the integrity of the van will be fine because it still has the support in the back, and I also need to fix the paint on that, but that's for another day. I have some of this this paper that I'm using to create a cutout for the windows. So I've got it on this side already. I started using basically as like a crayon. It was a wax pen, and I didn't really like how it was coming out because I want to make the flare the same like shape and size as the window so it blends in really well. Didn't really like how that crayon was working, so I just started using this razor blade and just started trimming along the edge. So that's gonna work out great. I don't actually need to, I don't want to cut in here, so I stopped cutting, it's like about there, and then I'll start back over here, cut around that window, and then once I pull the whole thing off, I'll just take a straight edge and connect that line. And that's going to be used as basically the base. And then I'll be building up on top of that using this foam board. Yeah, you'll see it when we get there. I think that works pretty good. I need to get those traced out, so I'm gonna get them taped into place first. I think I'm gonna just mark a couple of spots on the top, because I can use my straight edge and hit those lines super quick. It'll be a lot faster than having to chicken scratch it. Those are cut out, and here's my brilliant idea. This is way over the top and more than it needs to be, but basically I figured I can use, there's a name for this, but basically this jig that'll just run a line on that and keep it consistent all the way around. That worked out great. Get the lines on there. I got those cut out, and they are a little flimsy. There's a lot of bend in it, but that's okay because it's gonna get fiberglassed over once I attach the foam to it. So this is more of just like a basic frame guideline that I can use in order to build on top of. So the next thing I need to do is cut up a bunch of this foam. I made a bunch of marks every, I don't know, like 14 inches or something. And I'm just gonna hold my straight edge on it. And I think I need I need like 16 of those cut out. I started cutting these all the way through, and it is actually cutting so nice. So I'm gonna show this part. So all I'm doing is like pulling back on it a little bit and then just sliding this blade, which is pretty long. I use this for like detailing, doing like vinyl and window tint. But yeah, just slide it in there and it's just So smooth. All right, there's our first piece. Need 15 more of those. I have a ton of these strips cut out now, and it should be definitely more than what I need. And I have the bases sitting here, and I just threw another piece of wood under there because they're kind of flimsy, so that just holds it up. And I need to figure out the curvature of the window, because this is not completely flat. There is a little bit of a curve to it, and I want to cut the foam that's going to be on the ends here with a curve so that it also curves the wood, so that when I go, you know, I need it bent a little bit so that when I go to actually attach it, it like fits just kind of snug to that wall. Because if the glass is curved mounted on there, then I need the flare to be curved as well. So if I have a piece right here as the first piece being attached to that base, I want to cut the center of this out. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's just do it and see how it turns out. Yeah, it feels so flimsy. I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out something else. Maybe if I get something to hold that board. New plan, and this should work a lot better. I'm gonna take this board and cut a piece out with the same curve as the window, and then use that to mount these, like the base 1/4 inch ply on, and that should hold it in place. Hopefully, I don't even know. But as long as I keep it straight, which I think all the foam stacked together should keep the long skinny part pretty straight. And then as long as that curve on the sides stays in place, which the board should hold it no problem, that should work. Let's do like 1/2 inch on each side. Should be close enough. Let's cut that, see how it looks. I'm actually gonna use this and create a new piece. By that I mean just like making edits to it. It's kind of annoying to have to do, but I know that like little fixes like this will make it way nicer down the road. When I have like the whole thing completed, I don't want to go to put it up and then have it like not fit nice. So I just made marks on like where it was too high and where it was too low. Close enough. That is pretty good. Except now, since this is like the inverse of the piece that I want, I need to cut this off and then use that as the stencil for the other pieces that I need. I've got the 4 supports cut out now. Those are there. So I need to attach 1 to each end of my frame, or the base, whatever you call that. That should be pretty close to matching the curve of the window now. Fingers crossed, I guess. Let's get the other ones on and then we can start putting foam on. I have a bunch of these laid out, so I'm gonna start measuring them so that they're cut the full length of the that base piece. And then I'll start gluing them down with some liquid nail. And as I do the layers, I'm going to stagger them just a little bit. So they're like that. They're not completely lined up. And then before I fiberglass any of it, I'll go in and I'll trim all those corners. Because trimming the whole thing seemed easier than like cutting them all at an angle and lining them up like that. So it'll be a little extra work, but I think it'll turn out great. I don't know how well those curved pieces are gonna do staying down. So they might come up as I'm gluing them, and I'll just have to kind of work quick to get all the layers on and then get the top piece on so I can get all the corners clamped. I don't know, we'll see. I think my liquid nails is a little cold. It's like not coming out that grip. Honestly, a hot glue gun would probably work great for this too. A little bit of a gap there, but that'll be fine. So first layer is on. 3 more layers to go. I don't know how much of this I'm gonna end up cutting out because I'm gonna be changing things up a little bit. I left this to dry last night. I ended up going to the gym, and when I came back and checked on it, it wasn't, I don't think I had enough pressure between these pieces. Like there's some gaps in there. And so I just pulled off one of these clamps and it like wasn't holding together at all. So I mentioned before, like I said, I don't know if this will get cut out or not. Just because I don't want the video to be like super long, and I want you to actually see the process that I do. But I'm at the same time, I'm not worried about like showing the things that went wrong or like didn't work out great. I just don't want to put a lot of like wasted stuff in the video. So I mentioned using hot glue, which I'm gonna do now. Got a hot glue gun there. And it doesn't have to actually like hold everything together long term, because the fiberglass and the resin are going to take care of that. But just for getting this assembled so I can get to the fiberglass point, I think the hot glue gun should work great, because it hardens so much quicker than the liquid nail. And because it hardens quicker, I can put like more pressure on one piece, move on to the next piece, move my clamps over. I think I can figure out a process like that. So let's see how it works out. Got to take this apart and then we'll start gluing it back together. That'll straighten it out. All right, let's see how this works. There's some good pressure on there, so that should only take, I don't know, a minute to harden. I'm gonna throw some gloves on though, because I'm getting the liquid nail residue on my hands. Nope, I waited too long. So I'm gonna have to do half the board at a time, because yeah, that already hardened up. Yeah, I'll just put it down in sections, because the foam can bend. Take 397. So put a little glob on there. Clamp that down. I have a pretty cheap hot glue gun. This is just from another project that I was doing, a little craft thing. I feel like if I had a better hot glue gun, like a bigger one that's, I don't know, higher powered, gets more heat, it would probably work a little better. Because this one I can feel as I'm like going through the glue that it starts going slower because it's not like heating it quick enough. I feel a lot better about that run through there. I think that should hold just fine. pretty happy with how it's going down. And it's definitely staying, like these curved pieces are solid. Yeah, pretty happy with it so far. Got my 3 layers done, and it's set really well. It's holding together great. So I need to cut out the piece that's gonna go on top now. And initially, I'm gonna trace around this top piece. So I'll get it flipped over. But I had the thought, my clamps won't go, that's how big my clamps are. They won't go all the way over and be able to reach the top if I cut it too short. So I'm actually gonna cut the top bigger than I need it. I'll still mark it the same. I'll have to trim outside that mark so that my clamp can actually get all the way under the foam and on that base. And then once it's dried, I can just cut the edge off. It will be interesting trying to get this glued down in sections though. So I'll have to start on the end. So start on one side and then get the small sides and then kind of squeeze it down onto this end. So I recommend if you do this, get a bigger glue gun. One of like, you know, it's like 3 times the size of that. And the thicker glue sticks, because these are like the small ones. A bigger one would definitely come in handy. I've got it flipped around, so that side's done. And I'm gonna do these small sides next, and then figure out how to kind of get that sandwich together, and then do the pieces of this edge, which I'll probably have to just kind of pull up on the foam and just like squeeze it in there little sections at a time. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I have one side down. I hope I'm getting it far enough in there, because there's a lot like oozing out the edge. I think it'll be all right. I might have to do some gluing on the inside too before I trim it down, just to make sure it's got like a good bond on it. I mentioned this, but I'm just gonna run some glue on the inside edge to hopefully help it bond a little bit more, maybe create a better seal. Because I don't know how well I actually got the glue in there. I got that bead of hot glue run along the whole inside here. All the clamps are off. It should stay together pretty well, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna flip it over now and then start trimming the edge off that large piece that I did on top. And I mean, really start shaping the whole thing. Just start cutting off the edges off all the pieces since they're kind of staggered. So start smoothing that out and then shaping it. Yeah, that does work great. It shaves it down a lot though. So I'm gonna keep trimming with the blade until I get it like pretty close to where I want it, and then I'll go back with the rasp and smooth out the edges. Because that does work pretty good, but not for big chunks. was definitely not expecting that to be as messy as it was. Also, it just fell over. But I'm gonna get this vacuumed up real quick. I think it came out pretty nice. There are definitely some imperfections, like a little hole right there that'll end up filling in. But those edges are pretty smooth. I'm really glad with how well that rasp worked. So I still need to get the other one built, but it'll be the same process, so I'm not worried about doing it on camera. And this will be uploaded in 3 different videos for the flares. So it'll be this one, just building them, and then I'll do a video for fiberglassing them, and then a video for actually installing them, pulling out the other windows, and then putting these in place of the windows. So there's a lot of trial and error, but I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I think it'll work really well. I think it'll be not too difficult to fiberglass over because it's, you know, pretty flat and has those nice curved edges. So keep an eye out for that video, and yeah, thanks for watching.